Good day all, Anish from BlackBull Markets here. Biden edging ever so close to claiming the president-elect of this 2020 vote, which has seen the largest number of electoral votes in history. Unprecedented and potential unprecedented action from President Trump, currently in office, for potential lawsuits against states which of course have arguable mail-in ballot vote numbers. But off all of the back of this uncertainty, we're seeing markets shrug off most of it. We discussed Nasdaq yesterday. It's now since broken that 12K mark and heading higher. So what are investors focusing on? Investors are focusing on the stimulus package that's set to be announced soon after the election process. That's what's in focus. Regardless of a Biden or Trump presidency, we're going to get more stimulus, and the bias is towards more stimulus, or a larger amount of stimulus, with a Biden office than a Trump office. So this is what we're looking at right now. 12K on the Nasdaq. This is an hourly time frame, so you can see the extent of this move has been consistent throughout the last 24 to 48 hour period. Of course, we had that circuit breaker as soon as polling started here, which whipped above 11,800. Then we saw a bit of a cool off period, and then a lot of volatility back down below 11,200. And ever since then, we've been on this stretch all the way up, breaking 12K. That's what we're seeing on the Nasdaq. With metals, with commodities, they're also higher. And why are they higher? And they're higher because of a weaker greenback. So a lot of dollars selling, money flow out of the US dollar is what we're seeing throughout the trading session today, which has caused a rally in key currencies such as the euro and the pound, as well as rising commodities, but significantly gold, which has broken out of a pretty medium-term wedge pattern, which we've discussed also in a previous video. We're now looking to hit 1920 in gold. These are 2 weeks. 2 week highs here. This is a 15-minute chart. You can see a break of that previous high at 1915. 1917 is the current print. So investors are looking at potential targets to the upside should we get a Biden victory. In terms of fundamental reasoning behind it, it's pretty tricky to understand, especially since gold's been consolidating sideways. But general consensus is that over the next 3 or 4 years, we could see a golden era for gold, considering a lot of the lower interest rates that are expected to be maintained across the central bank sphere, not only in the USA but across the globe. Notably, the pound sticking to very low, near to 0% interest rates today as well. We saw an uptick there. What we are seeing though is potential eyes on that across of 1920 and then across of 1930. We did mention that that wedge break, so you can see that actually on a daily time frame, which is again another interesting pattern here. So again, as we've discussed, a lot of sideways consolidation, and then a small break of a recent wedge that's been formed in this market, breaking higher. 1920. Let's see if we can break it. If we do, we've got 1930 here to look at, where we've seen a double top formation throughout October, struggled to break that 1930 mark. Let's see if gold has legs. That's the question for gold bulls here. Gold has legs. We're looking at 1930, we're looking at 1950 to the upside, and seeing this go higher, we could again potentially see further falls in the US dollar, which does remain vulnerable to the downside, especially as that correlation now can seem to be continuing with stocks up, dollar down. So stocks continuing to tick higher does mean vulnerability to the downside for the US dollar, which also could relay some money flow back into gold as well, as potential uncertainty reigns over the market as to who's going to continue to be or to make this claim to be leader. That also remains in balance, which also potentially puts in play gold, as well as we know we could see a president-elect coming not until next year, January. So again, it remains in balance over the next few months. Keep your eyes on gold, keep your eyes on stocks. Stocks are definitely one to watch, especially if you're holding stocks. You could be looking for any other potential reversals in the immediate term, as sellers look to calm down some of those heavy buying strong gradients that we're seeing. We could see a bit of selling off there with a move to take it higher, but 12k is holding well nicely on the Nasdaq, and gold eyeing 1920. So 2 trade ideas there for you. Do trade safe, trade consciously, watch the markets, watch the news. All the best.